right, so you guys have sent over a mountain of articles about DeepSeek, this Chinese AI company.
Yeah, they're all over the news right now.
And honestly, I got to say, I'm pretty excited to dig into this one.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It's not just the tech.
Right.
They're making waves in global finance, even geopolitics.
Yeah. It's wild how much attention they're getting for a company that's only been around for, what, a couple of years?
Just a few years,
Yeah.
yeah. Founded in 2023.
Okay, so for those who haven't been following every AI headline, let's break it down.
Sure.
DeepSeek is basically building these AI models.
Yeah,
They're going head-to-head with the giants, the open AIs of the world.
right.
But they're doing it in a way that's got everyone scratching their heads.
Yeah, their approach is really turning heads.
Like their DeepSeek R1 model. This is their latest one, right?
Released just this past January.
Reports are saying it was developed for like $6 million.
That's the figure that's been circulating, yeah.
$6 million? That's insane. I mean, OpenAI spends billions on their models.
It's a completely different scale.
It's not just a different scale, it's like a different universe.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's a potential paradigm shift.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Who are these DeepSeek guys? Where did they come from?
Well, the company was founded by Liang Wenfeng. He's a pretty big name in the Chinese hedge fund world.
Okay, so finance background, not necessarily a techie.
Well, he's clearly got a vision for how AI can be used in finance. And here's the interesting part. DeepSeek is solely funded by his quantitative hedge fund Highflyer.
So no VCs, no outside investors.
So just Wenfeng's money.
That's got to give them a lot of freedom.
It does. It means they don't have to chase short-term profits. They
Yeah.
can focus on the long game, which is crucial in a field as complex as AI.
I can see how that would attract some serious talent, too.
Absolutely. They've managed to build a team of young but incredibly skilled graduates from China's top universities.
So they're not messing around. They're in it to win it.
It certainly seems that way.
And they've been moving fast, too. I mean, these articles mention a whole string of models released in rapid succession.
Yeah, they hit the ground running. Their first model, DeepSeek Coder, launched in November of 2023.
That's barely a year after they were founded?
Right, and then they followed that up with DeepSeek LLM, but things really took off in 2024 with DeepSeek V2.
That seems to be the one that put them on the map.
It did. It sparked a price war in the Chinese AI market.
Yeah, I read about that. The big players like ByteDance, Tencent, even Baidu and Alibaba were forced to lower their prices just to stay competitive.
DeepSeek was coming in with lower costs and comparable performance.
Disrupting the market right out of the gate.
Exactly. And then they just kept going DeepSeek Coder V2, DeepSeek V3, and culminating in DeepSeek R1 this January.
It's a dizzying pace of development.
They're not slowing down either.
Okay, so they're fast, they're aggressive, they're not afraid to shake things up. But how are they pulling this off? What's the secret sauce that allows them to achieve these results with what appears to be limited resources?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's got a lot of people in the AI community talking. They're using a combination of techniques that are really pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Okay, give me the rundown. What are these techniques and how do they work?
Well, one key element is their focus on efficiency. They've designed their models to be incredibly resource optimized.
Meaning they don't need as much computing power.
Exactly. They're getting more bang for their buck, so to speak.
Oh.
One article I read mentioned something called reinforcement learning. Is that part of this?
Yeah, keeps popping up.
It plays a crucial role in DeepSeek R1's advanced reasoning capabilities. It's essentially a technique where the AI model learns by trial and error. It receives feedback, a sort of a virtual reward for solving problems correctly.
So like training a dog, but with algorithms.
Haha, in a way, yes. The model learns from its mistakes and gets better over time.
Interesting. Another term I keep seeing is mixture of experts, architecture, or MOE.
That's another clever way to boost efficiency. Imagine an AI model as a giant toolbox filled with specialized tools. With MOE, only the tools relevant to a specific task are activated.
So they're not wasting computational power on unnecessary processes.
Precisely. They're being very strategic about how they use their resources.
Smart. They're also using techniques like multi-head latent attention, which I understand allows the model to process information more deeply, and distillation, which involves transferring knowledge from a larger model to a smaller, more efficient one.
They're constantly experimenting and refining their methods. It's very impressive.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really pushing the boundaries of AI development.
Yeah.
And then there's the big one, their commitment to open source.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's really causing a stir in the industry, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a bold move, and it sparked a lot of debate.
I mean, it seems risky. Why would they give away their secret sauce like that?
Well, some see it as a strategic play to gain recognition and establish themselves as leaders in the field.
Kind of like saying, look how good our stuff is, we're not even afraid to share it.
Exactly. It's a way to force the established players to adapt. If everyone has access to powerful free AI models, companies like OpenAI can't just sit back and charge a premium for their services.
So it could lead to a more competitive landscape with more affordable AI solutions for everyone.
That's the potential, at least. And it's not just about competition. Open sourcing also fosters a more collaborative and diverse AI ecosystem. A great example of this is Hugging Face's Open R1 project, which aims to replicate the entire DeepSeek R1 training process.
And that's only possible because DeepSeek made their model open source.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how open source can accelerate innovation by enabling a global community of developers to work together.
It's a powerful idea.
Yeah.
But it can't all be smooth sailing, right? I'm seeing some articles that highlight the challenges DeepSeek might face.
Of course, every company faces challenges, especially in a field as dynamic as AI.
Like what?
Well, despite their impressive efficiency, they still face a significant compute disadvantage compared to their U.S. counterparts.
Because of the export controls on advanced chips.
Yes. Those restrictions limit DeepSeek's access to the most powerful hardware, which could hinder their ability to scale up in the long run. Then there's the challenge of building brand reputation and overcoming skepticism in a market dominated by established players.
They're the new kid on the block, going up against giants with deep pockets and years of experience.
It's understandable that people might be hesitant to trust a newcomer, especially one that's taking such a different approach. DeepSeek has to prove that its cost-effective solutions can truly deliver on their promises.
And the AI world is constantly evolving. They can't afford to rest on their laurels.
Exactly. They need to keep innovating and staying ahead of the curve just to remain competitive.
Plus, there are the ethical considerations that come with any powerful technology.
Absolutely. We need to be having serious conversations about how to ensure AI is developed and used responsibly.
Okay, so we've covered DeepSeek's background, their innovative approach to AI development, the impact of their open source strategy, and some of the challenges they face. But there's another layer to this story, isn't there? The global markets are reacting to DeepSeek in a big way.
Oh, absolutely. The timing of DeepSeek's success, especially with the R1 release, has coincided with some significant geopolitical events.
You're talking about President Trump's inauguration.
Exactly. That, combined with DeepSeek's potential to shake up the AI market with its lower costs, has triggered a sell-off in tech stocks. NVIDIA, in particular, has been hit hard.
Their stock plummeted 13%, wiping out almost $465 billion from their market cap.
It's a clear indication that investors are taking DeepSeek's disruptive potential very seriously.
So DeepSeek is no longer just a tech story. It's intertwined with global power dynamics and the future of innovation itself.
That's what makes this so compelling. It raises a lot of questions about how DeepSeek's rise will impact the relationship between the U.S. and China in the AI arena. Will it lead to a more competitive landscape, or even a decoupling of the two tech ecosystems?
Big questions. And it feels like we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. This is definitely a story we'll need to keep a close eye on.
One thing is for sure, DeepSeek's story is far from over, and its impact will be felt for years to come.
All right, well, you've got a lot more to unpack here, so let's take a quick break and then we'll dive back in. It's clear that DeepSeek is shaking things up, not just with their technology, but with their whole approach to AI, Like they're challenging the assumptions that have kind of dominated the industry for years.
It's really a breath of fresh air.
Right.
For so long, the prevailing belief was that bigger is better. More data, more computing power, more money equals more progress.
Right. Throw money at the problem.
Exactly. But DeepSeek is showing us that maybe there's another way.
One of the phrases I keep seeing is democratization of AI.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What does that actually mean, though? Like, are we all going to be coding up our own AI assistants anytime soon?
Probably not that soon. But the core idea is that DeepSeek's open source approach could make AI more accessible and affordable to a much wider range of people. Not just the big tech companies, but smaller businesses, researchers, startups, even individuals with a passion for AI.
So instead of being this exclusive club for the elite, it becomes more of a shared resource.
Right. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Right.
So instead of needing like a professional recording studio to make music now, anyone can do it on their laptop with the right software.
That's a great analogy. And just like with music production, this kind of accessibility could lead to an explosion of creativity and innovation in the AI field.
It's exciting to think about where the next breakthrough is going to come from.
Right.
It could be a student in their dorm room or a small team in a developing country.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they have the tools to build something amazing.
That's what I find so inspiring. The possibility of a more vibrant and diverse AI ecosystem driven by a global community of innovators. It's a real departure from the current landscape, where a handful of large companies hold most of the cards.
But doesn't that also come with risks? I mean, if anyone can access and modify these powerful AI models, what's to stop them from being used for harmful purposes? Like some of these articles mention some pretty scary scenarios.
That's the flip side of the coin, and it's a valid concern. The open source nature of DeepSeek's models does raise questions about security and ethical use.
Like spreading misinformation or even the development of autonomous weapons using DeepSeek's technology.
Those are serious issues that we need to address, but it's important to remember that any powerful technology can be misused.
Right, like nuclear energy can be used to generate electricity or to build bombs.
Exactly. The internet can connect people or spread propaganda.
So it's not the technology itself that's inherently good or bad. It's how we choose to use it.
That's the key takeaway. And that's why we need open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of AI, to develop safeguards and guidelines that can mitigate those risks while still encouraging innovation.
One article I read brought up this concept of AI alignment, making sure that AI systems are designed with human values and goals in mind.
That's a crucial area of research. As AI becomes more powerful and more integrated into our lives, we need to ensure that it's working for us, not against us.
Right. AI should be a tool for good, not a threat.
Exactly. And that requires careful planning and thoughtful design.
So we've talked about the benefits and risks of open sourcing AI, but there's another big piece of the puzzle here, and that's the geopolitical implications of DeepSeek's rise.
Right. DeepSeek's success has definitely challenged the narrative of unquestioned U.S. dominance in AI. There's a palpable anxiety in some of these articles, a sense that China is rapidly catching up and maybe even surpassing the U.S. in this critical field.
And they're doing it with a fraction of the resources that U.S. companies have at their disposal.
That's what's so striking. Their focus on efficiency and cost effectiveness is a direct challenge to the bigger is better approach. It suggests that maybe the U.S. has been over-reliant on brute force and hasn't focused enough on smarter, more innovative approaches.
And the fact that DeepSeek is, even if indirectly tied to the Chinese government, adds another layer of complexity.
It does. It raises questions about national security and the potential for AI to be used for strategic advantage.
Some experts are even talking about an AI arms race between the two superpowers.
It's a real possibility that we need to take seriously. The stakes are incredibly high, and the potential consequences of an AI arms race could be devastating.
It's a scary thought.
It is. It's like a new kind of Cold War, but with algorithms instead of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's a pretty apt comparison. So how do we avoid that? How do we prevent this competition from spiraling out of control?
That's the million-dollar question. It requires diplomacy, collaboration, and a willingness to find common ground.
But let's zoom out a bit and bring it back down to the individual level. How is DeepSeek's story relevant to you, the listener? What does it all mean for our lives, our work, our future?
That's a great question. It's easy to get caught up in these big, abstract ideas, but ultimately it's about real-world impact. What I find most compelling about DeepSeek's story is that it's a powerful reminder that the future isn't preordained. It's not just an inevitable march toward bigger, faster, more expensive technology.
Sometimes disruption comes from unexpected places.
Exactly. From a company willing to challenge the status quo and do things differently. It's a David and Goliath story for the AI age. And it's a story that's still being written.
We don't know how it'll end, but it's a clear reminder that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Whether you're a tech enthusiast, an entrepreneur, or just a concerned citizen, DeepSeek's story should make you think about the choices we face as a society. How do we want AI to be developed? How do we want it to be used? What kind of future do we want to create?
Those are big questions, and there are no easy answers.
But they're questions worth asking. And DeepSeek's story is a catalyst for that conversation. It reminds us that we're all stakeholders in the future of AI, and we all have a say in what that future will look like.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from the technical innovations to the geopolitical implications of DeepSeek's rise. We've explored the potential benefits and risks of their open source approach and the impact it could have on the global AI landscape. We've talked about what it all means for you, the listener.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
It really has. So what's next? Where do we go from here? Okay, so we've talked a lot about DeepSeek, their technology, their strategy, the market reactions. But yeah, before we wrap this up, I'm
Yeah.
really curious to hear like what you think is the biggest takeaway from all of this.
I think at its core, DeepSeek's story is about change, and not just within the AI industry itself, but, a potential shift in the global balance of power.
We touched on that earlier, this idea of China challenging the US's dominance in tech. But you're
Right.
saying it's bigger than that?
Yeah, it goes deeper than just, who has the fastest chips or the most advanced algorithms.
Okay, so what is it then?
It's about different approaches to innovation, different philosophies about how technology should be developed and shared.
So DeepSeek is representing a different model, a different set of values almost.
Think about it for a second. The U.S. tech scene,
Yeah.
it's largely driven by venture capital, this
Mhm.
pressure for rapid growth, this emphasis on, proprietary technology.
Right. Build it fast, protect it fiercely.
Exactly. It's all about creating value for shareholders, building those walled gardens, protecting that intellectual property.
That's the Silicon Valley playbook for sure.
Right. DeepSeek is coming from a different world. They have access to vast resources, but they're not beholden to those same pressures.
Right, because they've got that hedge fund backing.
Exactly. They can
Right.
prioritize long-term research. They can really focus on open collaboration, even national strategic goals, in a way that most Western companies just can't.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the underlying systems and motivations.
Exactly. And that's why DeepSeek's success is so disruptive. It's not just that they built a better AI model, it's that they're playing the game by a different set of rules.
And those rules seem to be resonating at least with some folks.
Yeah.
The open source community has really embraced DeepSeek's models, and even some Western companies are starting to take notice.
It's fascinating to watch. It has the potential for a real paradigm shift in how we think about AI development.
Okay, so paint me a picture then. What does that world look like?
Imagine a world where the most advanced AI tools are freely available, where innovation is driven by a global community, not just a handful of corporations.
It sounds kind of utopian, but is that really realistic?
It's a bold vision, no doubt,
Yeah.
and there are going to be plenty of challenges and obstacles. But, DeepSeek is proving that it's not entirely out of reach.
So let's say for human sake this vision does come true. What would it mean for the average person?
It's hard to predict the full consequences of such a shift, but I believe it would be ultimately a positive development for humanity. If AI is truly democratized, it could be used to address some of the world's most pressing problems.
Like climate change, poverty, disease.
Exactly. Imagine a world where the brightest minds are collaborating openly to develop AI solutions for these challenges without the constraints of profit motives or national borders.
That's a powerful thought, but it also raises a lot of questions. Like, who would govern this global AI ecosystem? How would we ensure that AI is used ethically and responsibly?
Those are crucial questions, and they don't have easy answers. But they're questions we need to start grappling with now, because the future of AI isn't something that will just happen to us. It's something that we have the power to shape.
So for our listeners who've been with us on this deep dive, what's the key takeaway? What should they be thinking about as they, go forward?
I think more than anything, I would encourage them to stay curious. Keep learning about AI, its potential, its risks, its implications. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions, to challenge assumptions, to imagine different possibilities.
And to remember that, individuals can make a difference, whether it's supporting open source projects, engaging in debates about AI ethics, or simply staying informed about these developments.
The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's shaped by the choices we make today. So make your voice heard, and let's work together to create a future we can all be proud of.